In section 2.1, I'm going to show you how to configure voice and data VLAN for our CCI voice mock lab number 5. This is a video solution with audio instruction and demonstration of how to configure these tasks with more efficiently and the fastest way. Now here we're going to configure data VLAN and voice VLAN for each particular site. We're going to use these VLAN IDs that is provided to us, and we're going to apply them to the right interface. So the first thing I'm going to do is, using the old command on this particular switch, create the VLAN. Now the server VLAN should be created, but in case if it is not, then I will create the server VLAN right here. I will apply them to the necessary port. Now type show CDP neighbor. In case you don't see anything in the CDP, or if you suspect the CDP is disabled, then I strongly suggest type this command: CDP run, CDP advertisement version 2, CDP timer 60. This will ensure that CDP does not it's not deactivated by default or intentionally. Once that is done, on the router port, I'll type show switch port mode trunk, define the encapsulation, and define the native VLAN, which is the same as my data VLAN. Now this trunk port does not require any additional configuration, unless you want to be more strict and say which VLANs are allowed. Next, I will configure my IP phone. Now based on my show CDP neighbor, I notice my IP phone is connected to 0/5 and 0/2. If you have the latest switches, you should be able to use a range command. Spanning tree port fast should be enabled only on the interface that is acting as access port, not a trunk port. Alright, so once that part is done, I will configure my second port. Okay, so these are the three port that I need to configure, and the configuration is as defined. On site 2, I will site B, which is my ether switch module, I will configure this in the global configuration mode. I'll type the command VLAN 303 and VLAN 403 data. Now my switch ports are, or the IP phones are connected, is these two ports right there, so I can use a range command. Okay. So this is your switch configuration on those ports. Now because those port has to be trunked due to the fact is ether switch module, again you can configure the spanning tree port fast. So I'll use a range command again. Now while I'm here, I can probably configure the QoS as well. So if the QoS is enabled, you should be able to configure QoS. So site B is done. So those are the two ports where my IP phones are connected to. Okay, so switch, go to config, switch 2, go to config mode, type VLAN.503, name voice, VLAN.603, name data. Using the range command, type switch mode trunk, define the encapsulation type. Okay, spanning tree port fast. Here you can probably type the QoS trust device Cisco and type MLS QoS trust cause. So these are the two, obviously on the global command on the router you will enable QoS. So this is for the QoS part, so you can ignore that for now, or you can apply that while you're here. So these are your switch configuration. These should be pretty much the same for all the switches. Now my other two switches did not support those commands, so I did not type them, but you should type these two based on a QoS requirement. So this is your basic infrastructure for your three sites. You have your site C, which is switch 2, HQ, switch 1, and site B is built in, and all those ports are created. So this will end the section 2.1, and I will see you in 2.2.